and welcome back to my homestead. Today I've decided to harvest my kale because despite all of my home remedies, they still look like this. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. So, you know guys, when you go to the grocery store and you purchase kale and spinach and other cruciferous greens, and they're perfectly flawless and they're beautiful, and you're like, how did they do it? Because mine looks like this. So, little secret, they're sprayed. They're sprayed with pesticides and other chemical substances. Now, they are organic vegetables that you can buy, and the code always begins with the number 9. So when you're looking at the different numbers, 9 and blah 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 means that that was raised organically. Now, they're not gonna look like this because they are also sprayed, but they're sprayed with chemicals that are approved for organic gardening. So it doesn't mean that they're completely no spray in them. It's just they're organic or organically approved substances, okay? So, but I spray with my homemade remedy, which includes, and I can post that link. I did it last year, I posted last year, but you guys can watch it again. And let me tell you, it does help, and it helps a lot because I'm able to save a lot. But a couple of problems with homemade remedies, or even neem oil spray, which is great, but it needs to be reapplied every time it rains. Yes, or every time you water the garden from above, like spraying gardening, watering, you need to respray your homemade remedy pesticide again. So my remedy includes onion juice, garlic juice, some peppermint oil in it, cayenne pepper, a little bit of soapy water, and I mix everything up and I spray it. But in the last few weeks, I've been extremely busy, and every time I would look out and I see little moths flying over my garden, you know what that means. That means caterpillars. That means, Lilia, you have caterpillars in your garden. So some leaves look a little better, but there's still some holes, okay? But guess what, friends? Since this is not for sale, this is for my own consumption, for my own family, I am still going to use it. Now, throughout the summer, I've been going and getting a little bit enough just for dinner, just ripping off some of the leaves, allowing the rest of the plant to grow. I've decided right now to rip off as many leaves on the outer core as much as possible, allowing only the new shoots that coming from the stem inside of the plant to continue to grow, because this is a hardy plant. And even though it's early August right now, but I know the fall is coming, and it's fine because it's going to continue to grow and produce all the way up until the frost. All right, so what am I going to do with this gigantic pile? So first things, what I did was I cut them up and I put them in a gigantic basket, what almost looks like a laundry basket with lots of holes in it. And I put that basket inside of a big container. Now, if you don't have, you can use whatever you want, but this is just a big plastic bin I had. And I put some salt. How much salt? Probably about a cup, maybe a cup and a half, and about a cup of white regular vinegar. And those things help to remove any kind of bugs or caterpillars that might have been sitting on my leaves. I filled up the container with water and I let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then you know, when you remove that basket with holes, it acts like a sieve, really like a colander almost. So I was able to take it out of the salty vinegary water. I brought it in the house and I began to wash it again in small batches to make sure that I removed anything and everything that was there that could be still on the leaves. Now, all of the caterpillars and bugs were already dead because the salt solution kills them. However, I still wanted to make sure that nothing's left on the leaves. So I double washed everything in small batches. And now I have this big, beautiful pile of greens that I need to process. Now, I'm going to process this for the winter months, because it's nice that we have all these greens right now, but when the winter comes, it's nice to have something quick to cook for dinner for your family, right? So I'm going to preserve it. Last year I preserved them by canning and by dehydrating, and I froze some, but I don't think I showed you guys how I like to freeze them. So I'm going to show you a quick method of freezing any kind of greens. Okay, so all right, friends, I know there are different methods out there, so I'm just going to show you my method. Whether it's right or wrong, it's my method and it works for me. So all right, so I don't want to get those negative comments saying, Mama Lil, you didn't do it right. Well, this is my method. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to take them right off the stem, and I'm going to save these stems because they're nice to be added when I'm making any kind of vegetable stock or even meat stock. They add a nice flavor and vitamins and nutrients. All right, so as you guys know, greens are good for you, right? Eat your greens, eat your vegetables. It is recommended that we eat 7 cups of greens a day if we're going to be eating greens. As I'm guys going through them, I also inspecting, making sure they're clean and nothing left, because I just found a tiny little bug on it, and I want to make sure that everything is gone and completely clean. Those that are very, very damaged, like this one, there's like barely anything on it, I'm just gonna set aside and I'm not gonna use it. Okay, so all of my greens are now separated, and now I'm gonna chop everything up. Okay, I'm gonna chop them up into a smaller bite-sized kind of right away. So, and what I'm doing now is, remember that basket with holes I was using? I'm just lining it with some towels because I want some of this moisture to get absorbed. All right, so what I like to do is I'm just going to take my leaves now, line them up on top of each other to save time, and I'm just going to start chopping them. All right, so think about how big you want it to be for your dish or whatever. So kale is wonderful to be in soups, in stews, in quiches, in salads, but more specifically it's better when they're very young leaves in salads. But it's also very good and in shakes and smoothies. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut them into like 4, pile them up or twirl them together, whatever you want it to do, and just cut them in about 1/2 inch strips. And I'm just gonna drop everything now into my basket. Let them dry for a little bit. I don't know, maybe an hour or so. Okay, because that's really gonna absorb extra liquid. Because guess what, my friends? My method is no blanching. I am not gonna blanch this. The reason why blanching is done when vegetables are frozen or dehydrated or something, it's because it's recommended to kill the enzyme that all natural vegetables have that causes them to break down. Okay, so if the vegetable was not blanched and frozen without blanching, then supposedly the shelf life or the freezing time in a freezer, I should say, will be shorter if it was blanched. But I can tell you one thing, it's going to be gone over this winter, and by the time I'm going to plant my other batch of greens, this will be gone. All right, this will be all used up. So I'm just gonna do what I'm doing, cut in the middle, then the leaf again in the middle, and the second side leaf in the middle, and then just kind of like twirl them together. And it's very efficient, it's very fast, about 1/2 inch. So the greens, specifically kale, is very high in potassium, magnesium, okay, other minerals that are essential for us, okay? But also it's high in vitamin K. High in vitamin K, so it's very good for our health, and it's really nutrition-packed vegetable. Drying for about an hour or so, even though there's still some moisture left on it, but it's okay, most of it is gone. All right, now I'm going to be doing flash freezing. That means I'm going to take a cookie sheet and I'm going to line it with the parchment paper, because it's much easier to work with a frozen fruit or vegetable if it's in a parchment sheet. So I'm just going to take a bunch and I'm going to throw it on a sheet. I'm going to try to do as loose as possible. Because they were not blanched, they're still very bulky, but it's quite all right. Okay, and I'm going to keep putting this. And I'm probably going to freeze them overnight, so they will be nice and frozen. So it's about 10-12 hours, I would say. Okay, after several hours in the freezer, they're super frozen, so I have to work fast before they begin to defrost. And I'm just gonna start piling them up in my bags, and I have the special bags that I use for with my food saver machine. But if you don't have that, it's fine. It can be used in the regular freezer, large Ziploc bags, you know, just pushing the extra air out. But I'm gonna make them into one size portion for my family, and I'm gonna quickly work to seal them. All right. Okay, nicely sealed frozen kale. It's gonna go back in the freezer. Okay friends, so now I have frozen kale without blanching. Now without blanching, remember, it will shorten the shelf life in a freezer, but it's okay, quite okay. We're gonna use it up this winter and it'll be just fine. On this note, friends, I just want to encourage you guys, so please preserve some of the food you're growing. Grow enough to eat today and preserve for tomorrow. So when there's an abundance today, we store away for tomorrow. I hope you guys stay encouraged and try something new.